Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Great Day Houston. Question: how much do you really know about the city many of us call home, Houston? Yes, it's the fourth largest in the country, medical and energy capital of the world, and most diverse city in the country. Those things are big, but what else? Our first guest drills down to the nitty-gritty, things that really make us unique. William Dylan Powell has written books like 100 Things to Do in Houston Before You Die and Secret Houston, A Guide to the Weird, Wonderful, and Obscure. He says the city becomes completely different every few decades. His latest book looks back at some of our glory years, perfect for those who lived them and for those who are curious about the culture at the time. He just released Lost Treasures of Houston, Restaurants, Drive-ins, Concert Halls, and other favorite places from the past. He joins us with a deeper look at who we are and where we're going. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
Thanks for having me this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the series of books I was telling you before the show. It's just little things that can spark conversation, but about knowing where you live. For so many people, we pass by things every day with no question as to how it got there, street names, all kinds of things. You, as a child, moved around a lot.
We did. My father was in the oil and gas business, so it was about every 2 years we moved on, but eventually I called Houston home.
Yeah, this is the place that you've lived longer than anywhere, right?
It is, 26 years now.
Is that what kind of sparked your desire to know more about where you are?
It is. There's a guy who wrote a book called Writing to Learn named William Dylan. I think it was in the 70s or early 80s, and one of the best ways to learn about something is to write about it. So. Yeah. A lot of these Houston books, that's what's my attempt to
because it means you do research, but you were from a family of big readers, like your family was serious about it.
Oh, to this day. You know, at a certain time, the TVs went off and everybody just read for hours.
Bad family, boo, bad family, bad, no. Yeah, TVs went off, everybody was reading.
But I thought everybody lived like that.
Yeah, but actually getting into writing, though, it's one thing to read, it's another thing to write.
For sure. Yeah, somewhere in my mid-20s, I thought, that seems like something I can do. And coming from a family of readers, I was more prepared than I realized to do that. I took the leap and haven't looked back. It's been 26 years now.
Yeah, so. And I love all your books. You did one of them was Houston, Then and Now.
Yep, 2006.
And it compared, right?
Yep.
All right. And then you moved on to your other books. And so they include Secret Houston, A Guide to the Weird, Wonderful, and Obscure, 100 Things to Do in Houston Before You Die, as we mentioned, and Houston Culture Shock, Quirks, Customs, and Attitudes. All right. Lost Treasures of Houston. This is book number 3.
Book number 13.
13.
That's correct.
Oh, wow, 13. Okay. And you spoke to over 50 people, hard to obtain photographs, limited 1990s imagery, because back in 1990s, we weren't just taking pictures on our phone and then sending them to people, right?
That's right. It was tough to find photos, but people were so generous when I explained that the project was 200-ish people, places, and phenomenon that Houstonians used to love, but are now sadly gone, like Astroworld or the Oilers.
Oh, let's start with Oilers, because that conversation came up, of course, after Monday night's game, because
Such
it was
a good game.
Yeah, that repetitive Steelers versus Oilers back then, and when they had that controversial call, of course, when it's like, no, Renfro's foot is in, it is in, like, no, it is out. Changed kind of the trajectory of the game, but yes, it was Love You Blue. In fact, the funny part about the Oilers is that it was the first time I ever came to Houston. Was my high school band from San Antonio. We played the halftime.
Oh, wow.
At the Oilers game.
That's so great.
And played it at the Astrodome. And then our prize for working so hard was to go to Astroworld.
Very nice. Yeah, it's weird having grown up an Oilers fan because, the Texans are awesome, but it is different. It's a different experience for sure.
Yeah.
Monday night was amazing, though. I mean, that Texans defense, they chased Aaron Rodgers out of the stadium and into his car. It was amazing.
But what it touched on was that nostalgia for a lot of people who remembered that matchup back in the 80s. All right, in the 70s and 80s. Okay, so Astroworld. I remember I was doing a radio show when Astroworld closed, and I asked people to call in and just share their memories. And I didn't realize just how many people felt so strongly about Astroworld. It's where they met their fiance. It's where they had their first job. It's where their talent was discovered through those talent shows they would have.
Whenever I talk about this project, 3 things would always happen. The first place they mentioned was always Astroworld. And then they mentioned the Oilers, and then they mentioned 300 restaurants that they used to love.
Yeah, right.
So a lot of love for Astroworld around town.
Yeah, also Stevens and Pruitt.
Oh yeah, I mean, they were peak shock jock radio, and they were on top of their game, and so their families were very helpful in helping provide imagery for the book too.
Great malls.
Oh yeah, my parents grew up in the age of the department store, And I grew up in the age of the big mall. And, now people are growing up in the online purchasing age,
Exactly.
Was it culture? Was it commerce? I don't know. 13-year-old me who wanted to buy everything in Spencer's Gifts didn't care.
Yeah, right. But we talk about the malls, like even Sharpstown Mall, which that was like the blueprint for a great mall at one time. Then you had your Greenspoint, but Galleria would come along later. But big crunchy hair was also a big thing. The mall hair, right? Some of the favorite places. Speaking of department stores, Foley's.
Foley's, yes. Great memories of my mom taking me to get school clothes at Foley's. That was a classic department store for the age.
Yeah, you were getting school clothes, but you were also getting your club clothes.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I was probably going to go somewhere on Richmond Strip, like one of those places that's not there anymore. Richmond really came and went.
Yeah. It's so interesting with Foley's. So my son, I got a phone call one day and they said, yes, we're doing the last Foley's catalog that's going out, and we need a toddler. So that was back when rompers was that a few dollars, right? But they said, yeah, we need him to model in it, and so that was the last one that went out, and he was a little baby model.
Nice. Was it a red apple sale?
The Foley's red apple sales.
Shirt,
right. Okay, and then the Strawberry Patch Restaurant, as you mentioned, several restaurants people missed.
Oh, I love that place. They give you little muffins before your meal, and they were so good.
Yeah, they were. The key word is were, because it's gone now,
there was
right?
brass and ferns. It was like an 80s country club in there.
Yeah. What defines a lost treasure?
That was a tough one. I try to use a combination of instinct and impact that something had on the culture. I mean, as we're sitting here talking right now, somebody is on a Facebook forum talking about the bar staff at Kay's Lounge. I mean, some of those things just refuse to die. So I try to get a gauge for how much of a hole did it leave in Houston's psyche.
Yeah.
And at first, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to find 200 things. When I agreed to do this book for my publisher, I sat down and I wrote 30 things. I thought, I've got this. But then at 31, I thought, I don't have anything else. So I went and talked to at least 50 people, and by the time I was done with all that, I had about 400 things, and I wrote the book way fat, and the publisher was like, bro, how big do you think this book is going to be?
Right. Well, you just need another volume. That's what you need, a couple more volumes, because when you talk about those things, and people, of course, again, the point is that it made an impression on them. A lot of people got married and had their receptions at Vargo's.
Oh, Vargo's, yeah. Vargo's was amazing. It was big and opulent and wonderful, and they had so much space there. And actually, I live on the west side, and I credit Vargo's with a lot of the wild peacocks that we have on the west side.
Yes.
I think when they closed down, they just said, okay, you're free, fly, So,
open the gate.
And here we are all these years later with peacocks in our front yard.
And that's where they came from. All right, the Vargo's peacocks. All right, Charlie's.
Oh, Charlie's 517. At 517 Louisiana, I love that place. Clive Bergman ran that place. And actually, when my first book was published in 2006, my publicist flew into town and took me to dinner there, and I thought I was royalty, And Clive Bergman actually taught a wine appreciation course at U of H. When I was home for the summer, I took that course and actually got a B. Turns out there's a lot of grape varieties.
The old San Francisco Steakhouse.
Oh, my uncle loved that place on Westheimer. Sort of a late 1800s themed steakhouse, and there was a woman in period dress who was swinging on a swing apropos of nothing
yes.
on the roof. But the steaks were great too.
Well, we loved it. We just sit there and watch. Oh, there's a lady swinging again.
That's a Target now, and I'm not sure that's an upgrade.
Yeah, all
much
right.
as I love Target.
Some of those things were several decades ago, but there's other things that are more recent. Turkey Leg Hut.
Oh yeah, what a tragedy. Yeah, what a great idea too. They went from sort of a rodeo style staple to opulent to being like a real scene. Man, that one they had that had like crawfish all over it, and what a great concept to just like smother a turkey leg in those things. And it took on a life of its own, and it may not have ended well, but while it was white hot when it was going.
You will not realize how many times I got a phone call, girl, you have any connections to the Turkey Leg Hut? Because this line is wrapped around the building like 20 times. Can you get me in? Yeah, all right. And then when it comes to entertainment, so many things as well, radio, music, theater, Gillies.
Oh yeah, Gillies is great. I regret that I came of age a little late to go to Gillies, but I'm also pretty sure I would have gotten beat up at Gillies, so this probably all works out for the best.
All right, Bear Creek Golf World.
Oh yeah, people always ask me if you could bring back one thing, what would it be? And I suspect it would be something different for everyone, but for me, my dad and I played the Sunday morning back nine at Bear Creek Golf, just as the sun was coming up, and it's a country course, so there were deer and alligator and ducks. And it was just a great way for me to spend time with my dad. It was built in the late 60s, and it was like 3 golf courses. But Harvey took it out, unfortunately. But we snuck back on there when they were destroying the clubhouse, and I stole a brick from the clubhouse, and it sits on my desk. So I used it as inspiration when I wrote this book.
Yeah. You know, it's like, Harvey took out KHOU Channel 11 too on Allen Parkway.
That.
Yeah.
I remember that.
All right. When it comes to retail, of course, River Oaks Bookstore, and of course, coming from a family of big readers, media. Leon Hale.
Oh yes, such a homespun treasure. You know, I loved. Born in Fort Worth, he went to my alma mater, Texas Tech. He always had some kind of homespun Texas wisdom, and I loved him right up until the end.
And I'm going to end with Marvin Zindler.
Oh, yes. You know, here we are without Marvin Zindler, running around with slimy ice machines. I don't know how we're doing it.
Yeah, right. He showed up at my wedding and he said, "You're the second best looking thing in white," because he had a full-on white suit.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You can pick up a copy of Lost Treasures of Houston everywhere books are sold, including Brazos Bookstore, where William will be doing a book signing tomorrow from 6:30 to 8 p.m. For more information, visit greatdayhouston.com and we will connect you.